today I am here to do a comparison of my silicone baby here on the left and one of my vinyl Reborn art dolls on the right. I get a lot of questions on my channel about the silicone and the vinyl, the differences between the two, from those of you who are either interested in silicone, you already have a vinyl doll, or from those of you who are first-time doll parents and you're looking for your first doll. A lot of you want to know which one would be a better fit for you. I can't tell you which one would be a better fit for you, but what I can do is give you a whole list of all the pros and cons of both the silicone and the vinyl so that you can make a decision for yourself which would suit you better. So before I get started on the pros and cons of each one, here on the right is my vinyl Reborn art doll that I named Sparrow. He is the Samuel sculpt by Cassie Brace, and he was painted by Andrea Randall of Pearly Babes. You can find her on Instagram, and she usually has dolls in her shop on reborns.com as well that she is selling. Then here on the left, this is the Skylar sculpt by Kimberly Dolls on Etsy. She was sculpted, poured, and painted by Kimberly Dolls. You can check her out on Etsy. Like I said, she usually will have options open for custom silicone babies. She will also sometimes post already made silicones on her Etsy shop. And as you can see, Sparrow has a cloth body, whereas my Skylar silicone is full body silicone, solid silicone. Now let's get into the pros and cons. First, I'll go over the silicone. There are all different types of silicone out there. There is EcoFlex 20, EcoFlex 30. I think most of what I've seen up for sale is usually EcoFlex 20. I don't remember what this silicone is in particular, but it's very, very flexible, very squishy, and to the touch, it feels very real. It feels very much like real skin, especially if you've been holding this doll. The silicone will warm and feel very, very realistic. I did not understand the hype about silicone babies until I got this one. I've had a couple of silicones in the past, and they just weren't the right ones for me. In my opinion, it's harder to find a silicone baby that's just right for you versus a vinyl doll, but maybe I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Another pro of this particular doll is that she is very cuddly. When you pick her up, you feel like you are picking up a real life newborn. You have to support her head. She's very heavy, and I just love picking up this doll. Not all silicones are like that though. I have had other silicones in the past that were not fun to cuddle at all. This doll can kind of scrunch up, curl up in your arms just right, whereas other silicones I've had in the past just did not do that. I used to have a big silicone baby. I think he was 21 inches. So he was quite a bit bigger than this doll here. I think she is 19 or 20 inches. And he was not cuddly at all. He was actually overly heavy. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes some silicones are very cuddly and sometimes not so much. Now on to the cons of silicone. They are very fragile, very, very fragile. You have to take care of them properly. You have to use the right type of powder on them. For this doll, I bought a very expensive silicone doll powder that was formulated specifically for this art medium so that she is very well taken care of. I want my investment to last. I want this baby to last. And so I've invested in special powder, which is also very expensive, but very worth it. Her skin feels super silky soft with it, and it's just amazing. It's very hard to dress this doll without worrying. You have to take a lot more care not to pull on the fingers or the toes, the limbs or anything. You don't want to cause any tears in the silicone or peeling from constant dressing and undress. I probably change my silicone baby once every month, maybe twice. I try my best to take care of this doll, and part of that is just not handling her as much as I would a different type of doll. Then of course, expensive. Silicone is very, very expensive. It's a harder art medium for them to work with, and there are less artists who work with it. The artist that does work with it is doing everything by hand, so they're not being produced in a factory like the vinyl Reborn doll kits are. So just quickly, for those of you who may not know, vinyl Reborn doll kits, they are sculpted in clay by the sculpting artist. Sculpting artist sends it to a factory, which then produces it into vinyl. They make a mold of the clay sculpt and then they produce it into vinyl, which is then like a blank canvas for the artists to work on. That's just short summary of it. Then for the silicone babies, they are sculpted by hand in clay, just like the vinyl Reborns are. And then they go to someone who will pour the doll in silicone, or most artists that are sculpting for silicone will pour their own silicone babies. It's a lot harder for them to do. They have to do each doll singly, is that a word? Each doll must be done on its own, and it's a very painstaking process. A lot of silicone babies come out of the mold with bubbles and seam lines and things as well. So it's just a lot harder of a medium to be worked with. The process of painting silicone is also a lot harder, and therefore a lot less artists do it. Therefore, it's more expensive art. Now let's move on to the vinyl Reborn doll. One of the pros of these dolls is that you can customize the weighting to however you like it. If you want a doll to be very lightweight, so it's easy to carry around, easy to cuddle, if you have some type of back injury or anything that prevents you from being able to hold something very heavy, then the Reborn doll is probably better for you. Because silicone is solid silicone, they're very heavy. Very, very heavy, unless it's a smaller silicone. Even this baby at 19 or 20 inches is extremely heavy. I don't know exactly how heavy she is, but she's heavy. I mean, you have to really support her head and cuddle her close when you hold her. And any silicone that's bigger than this is extremely heavy. I have held some extremely heavy silicones. I did not find it enjoyable at all, and I have had a silicone in the past that was not fun to hold. I think I may have mentioned him already. Now, the vinyl dolls with the cloth body, they are customizable to however you want them to be weighted. Now, like I mentioned, you can make them super light, but you can also make the vinyl dolls super heavy if you enjoy having a very heavy weight to hold, whether that's for therapeutic reasons or you just enjoy that. Secondly, you can get very nice vinyl dolls for really good prices. There is everything in the price range from like $200 and up. There are a lot more vinyl dolls on the secondhand market as well, so people sell them for cheaper because there's a lot more of them out there and a lot more artists painting the vinyl dolls. Just in general, vinyl is going to be cheaper than the silicone. 3, they are less fragile, much less fragile. Now, of course, you still have to take care of them, be gentle with them, take extra care when dressing them, but you don't have to be nearly as careful as you do with silicone. I have never ever damaged one of my vinyl dolls. I've never damaged one of my silicones either, but I've never been fearful that I'm going to damage one of my vinyl dolls. And I feel a lot more comfortable dressing them, and they're easier to dress. They're so much easier to dress than silicone. Then, of course, there are more sculpt options. There's every type of baby you can think of as far as vinyl sculpts go, from really big toddlers and even child-sized dolls, all the way down to little tiny micro preemies in every size in between, open eyes, closed eyes. There's even some full body vinyl sculpts. There are some sculpts that have belly plates for photos, and I mean, the options are endless when it comes to the vinyl dolls. Now, the only cons for the vinyl would be that you can't really bathe them, get them wet. But honestly, when you're talking about very realistic silicone dolls, you don't want to get them wet very often either, because it could wear their paint down over time. So for me personally, I don't like bathe my silicone doll all the time or anything like that anyway. I'm sure that you all can probably tell that in terms of how much you can enjoy a doll, I would definitely lean more towards the vinyl. But I know that so many collectors also would say like silicone is what they love the most. So really, a lot of it is also about what you can afford and what you want the doll for. Because if I personally had to choose between the two, I would choose the vinyl or Reborn dolls. Anyway, if you have any more questions about these two particular dolls or about vinyl versus silicone, then go ahead and leave them in the comments and I will try my best to get to them as soon as I can. I hope that this video was helpful to you, and I will be back with another video soon. Thanks for watching, everyone.